Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of News on the Continent on Africa Media, platform where you get to have your say on the happenings on the continent. You too can call and tell us what you think about the happenings on the continent. And today our focus is on Cameroon. We are going to talk about the mission that recently took place by some three international organizations. That is the African Union, the International Organization of La Francophony, and the Commonwealth. The leaders of these three international organizations were in Cameroon the past few days to talk with the head of state and see how the recommendations of the major national dialogue that was heard from October 30 to September 4 was to see how these recommendations can be put in place for peace to return to the two English-speaking regions of the country. We are also going to talk about elections, that is municipal and legislative elections that have been slated for February 9, 2020 in Cameroon. The main opposition party, the Social Democratic Front, has once again said it is going to boycott these twin elections if the problems or the crisis in the Anglophone regions are not solved before that the period of the elections. So those are the two topics we shall be tackling this day on the program, and in the minutes ahead our lines are going to be opened so that you can call and tell us what you think about these two topics of today on the Central African nation of Cameroon. And to better expatiate on these topics of the day, in our studios this afternoon is Mr. Nji Akumanga Jespal. Hello sir, and thanks for joining us on the program.
Yeah, thank you, Laurencia, and greetings to all televiewers, and praying that we should be part of this program. And special greetings to the guys doing groundwork there back home, and all the families of the Ngemba here in Douala, and especially that of Songwa, that we are together.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njia, for honoring our invitation. And our lines, like I mentioned earlier on, our lines will be opened in the minutes that follow. But before that, let us get this report done for us by Regina Sondo on the visit of the heads of these three international organizations. Take a listen.
A high-powered team of heads of La Francophonie, the Commonwealth and the African Union have visited Cameroon in a bid to help put an end to the crises that have made life difficult for the inhabitants of the English-speaking regions of the country. The three international organizations have expressed their interest to help the country solve the Anglophone crisis and the post-election crisis. Louis Mishikuwabu, Musa Faki Muhammad and Patricia Scotland have held meetings with the country's President Paul Biya and Prime Minister John Gute. They've equally begun meeting political leaders in Cameroon and will meet members of the civil society before they leave. The Commonwealth Secretary General Patricia Scotland Wednesday said the trio are determined to do all they can as three organizations to support the peaceful process, and they are encouraging every single actor to put peace and good governance first. And for that, they need everyone's commitment and everybody's hard work. But then this isn't the first time they are coming to the country to discuss a way out of the crisis. So how different is this visit going to be? In December 2017, the Commonwealth SG visited Cameroon. The 4-day working visit in Cameroon was meant for her to meet government officials, political leaders, members of the civil society, and traditional leaders in Yaoundé. But she made an unexpected visit to Boya, where she met members of the civil society and traditional leaders. They suggested the need for a constructive and inclusive dialogue to solve the crisis in the restive regions. Similarly, in May 2019, Louise Mashikwabu visited Cameroon 4 months after she was elected the SG of La Francophonie. She met with Cameroonian authorities and discussed the way out of the security challenges facing Cameroon on several fronts, especially the English-speaking regions of the country. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Fcfa Mohammed, undertook a 48-hour official visit as well to Cameroon from July 12 to 14, 2018. He held meetings with President Paul Biya and former Prime Minister Philemon Yang, where he called for an inclusive dialogue. Cameroonians who have long lost hope in the international community to help them resolve the crisis in the troubled English-speaking regions have them visiting again. The leaders have echoed that the solution to the crisis, however, lie in the hands of Cameroonians themselves. They say they can only assist the country.
Thank you so much, Regina Stondo, for that detailed report. And if you're just joining us, this is Views on the Continent on Africa Media, and our focus is Cameroon. This day we're talking about the visit of some leaders of some 3 international organizations. That is the African Union, the International Organization of La Francophonie, and the Commonwealth. These leaders were in Cameroon from November 26 to 28 to talk to the president, to discuss with the president the way forward towards solving the Anglophone crisis. And we are also going to look at the Social Democratic Front, that is the main opposition party in Cameroon, that has said it is not going to take part in the upcoming municipal and legislative elections that have been slated for February 9, 2020. And they say they are not going to take part, and they shall only take part if the Anglophone crisis is solved. And to discuss all of this in the studio with us is Mr. Nji, like I mentioned earlier on. So, Mr. Nji, looking at the visit of these 3 leaders of these international organizations, what is so particular about this visit, given that these leaders had earlier on visited the country or individually to see the head of state and to talk about this Anglophone crisis? So what is so different about this visit this time around?
Yeah, I think talking about their visit is very important, acknowledging the fact that they have seen that in a country presently it is not really going. But the problem here is coming in the country and, you know, not getting where the problem is or meeting the actors, it becomes somehow so difficult. Because remember, some years behind, the Secretary General of you know, was it Commonwealth? That's 2017. Yeah, something of that. He came and you know, limited at the level of Yaoundé and probably at the airport. And which type of result, according by you and I, will he go and give over there? So sometimes even it becomes so difficult coming to seek information to one who have never gone down there. I'm talking of the head of state himself. He have never been there where the act is being committed to see actually what is going on, and it becomes somehow very difficult for him to give the right information. But the truth is, at the end of the day, they have a role to play and a report to give. But my fear is, let it not also provoke these guys more and more. So actually I believe there should be a change. But if you look the way these things are being organized, it's just like what we had in the name of national dialogue. Because you won't, just like after all the resolutions, they talked of I think special statute to the Anglophones, of which at the end of the day, the head of state had to go to his neighbor's house to go and announce what was in the envelope. Even up today, we are still waiting for implementation to see how it looks like. So it is just the same case we just face here. You know, he have never been there, and these people coming in now, you know, at the end of the day, anything you plan wrongly I guess we'll be having wrong result at the end of the day. So we just pray that there should be a change, because if you look at the way things are going now, political parties are not ready. Let it not be like focus only on the political part of it, because you know, he's looking about the interest of his party, and you know, giving positions to people he have promised them, I will do you this and that, not thinking of the people down there. So I think actually they should equally, you know, have a say as far as the political organization of a country is concerned. By so doing, I think we already start touching the real issue.
Okay, thank you. But you mentioned earlier on that when these authorities present themselves in Cameroon, they don't go to where the root of the problem is. Are you saying that these three leaders were actually supposed to go to the northwest and southwest regions to see what is happening there in order to try to come up with solutions to the problems these regions are facing?
Yeah, I think, you know, they can only take these people to wherever they wish, because a stranger cannot master your home more than you, who is the owner of that home. From, I think it should be 3 years today plus, we have been talking of this crisis. The head of state have never, you know, for one day go down in the field to look what is happening and, you know, master the situation and look a better way forward. And talking of the root cause, and how can he now go on giving informations of what he knows nothing about it? So I think we don't need these people to go down there, but the person who is like leading the country would have gone down and know what is happening. And we still think the people there are waiting for him, because there was a moment Philemon went there, I mean the previous Prime Minister, he went there and the guy said, no, we need the head of state. It would have taken that opportunity and go down to see what is happening, but he didn't. So most of the times he believed on information coming from right and left. So it is right time he goes down, talk with his people, you know. I don't see any problem. Talk with his people, and I guess might be that will be the beginning of solving the solution. But if you think, because by the time leaders come to understand that they are servants but not masters, because whenever we put them there, they take themselves to be masters, need people to honor and worship, adore them. But we are taking them, when they call you a president, actually you are supposed to be a servant, and a servant needs to go to his people, see where the problem is, not waiting for the people to come to him. So he's already trying to work out something with this international body, struggling to make them understand all is work, all is well, of which actually all is not well. But I think if he goes down, and then he will have the real information, and by so doing, that will be the beginning of solution for the crisis.
So if I get you right, if the president had, when this crisis started, if the president had made that effort of going down to the field, that is to go into the crisis-stricken regions, that's the northwest and the southwest, better solution would have come up earlier on. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah, because the presence of the father in a home is different from that of the wife. The presence of a phone is different from that of the notable. So I think sending people like a Tanganjipo who will come and give other informations different from what is actually happening in the field. Remember, some years behind, he said there was no Anglophone problem. And when Jean Didier Momo was like, when the Prime Minister was like struggling, talking overseas, saying they are struggling to see about the issue of the Anglophone. And what did he say? He said there was no problem, Anglophone problem, and they would not see anything. But today he is the same person moving around giving gifts here and there. Hadn't be the president himself goes there, I guessed very well, and I'm sure the people will at least receive him like the president, because he remains the president, even though the country, we claim we the Anglophones, because I'm not left out, you get it. We said we are not part of the La République, but then it is because for the fact that he have locked in Seseko, who is actually the president of the Southern Cameroonians or the Ambazonian. The person we know now as a president is he. So he needs to go there, talk with his people, dialogue with his people before thinking about the national dialogue.
And looking at what one of these authorities said, that is Louisa Mushikiwabo, she said in order for this crisis to be solved, the main responsibility lies with the people of Cameroon. How valid do you think is this statement?
Yeah, I think he is just saying actually what we are saying here, because you wouldn't call a stranger to come and solve your problem. I think every father is responsible in his home, even though we said in each home it is the roof that covers all the problems. Meaning, he's given a challenge to the head of state that he should, take that responsibility to go there and work things out with his people. He does not need any stranger, any person coming from wherever to come and solve our problem, because whatever they will come say, go back, tomorrow we will still be the ones to move on with our country. So I guess very well what he said is true, that we need to sort our problem, because we are the problem to ourselves. And solving the problem, you need to know the root cause, and from the root cause I think actually you already start doing something.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nji. If you're just joining us, we are talking about Cameroon, the visit of the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, the Secretary General of the International Organization of La Francophonie and Commonwealth to discuss with President Paul Biya the way forward to finding a lasting solution to the problems facing the two English-speaking regions of the country. And as our lines are opened, just to remind our televiewers that our lines are opened, you can call us and tell us what you think about today's topics. And to bring to you our second topic, we are also talking about the Social Democratic Front, that's the SDF party, that has said once again that it will not partake in the upcoming municipal and legislative elections if the crisis in the northwest and southwest region is not solved. And let us get this excerpt of what Patricia Scotland had to say after a meeting with President Paul Biya. Take a listen.
Three organizations wish to promote that and stand beside it, but we are at the beginning of our discussions. We now have the advantage of speaking to the Prime Minister and the President, but as my colleagues have made clear, we have to speak to others. We are going to speak to the political parties outside of the government. We are going to speak to civil society, and we need to listen very carefully to what everybody is saying so that we can be the best pathfinders to assist Cameroon in a way that is proper. But the main responsibility will rest on Cameroonians themselves. We want moderation, we want peaceful coalition and existence, and that is what we are all promoting.
Thank you very much to our technician for that excerpt. That is the Secretary General of the Commonwealth talking to the press immediately after their audience with President Paul Biya. We have indications of our first participant on the line. Hello and thanks for joining us on the program.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, yes, sir, we can get you. You're on air. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, and go ahead with your contribution. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. You're on air. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good afternoon to the panelists and the host of Afrique Media. I'm Mark Henry, and I'm calling from the Pacific island of Vanuatu.
Thanks for joining us on the program. Go ahead with your contribution.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, sir, you are on, we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello? Maybe we will get back to that caller. You can continue to call us. We have another caller on the line. Hello, and thanks for joining us on the program.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to the program. If you're on air, we can hear you. We can hear you. You are actually on air. Go ahead with your contribution. We seem to be having a little difficulty getting to our callers out there, but do not relent the effort. Keep calling us. Yes, we have another caller on the line. Hello and thanks for joining us on the program.
Good afternoon, Madam Laurencia. Good afternoon to all those connected to Afrique Media this afternoon. Talking about the joint visit of La Francophonie, the Commonwealth and African Union delegation to Cameroon. I think if these people they want to resolve this issue once and for all, sanctions should be melted upon the Cameroon government. I think we have gone past the time when we start cajoling this government with words because they are not ready to solve this problem unless sanctions are being melted upon them. Okay, for example, see what the US did, and you can see how trembling the government is already behaving. I think if we want to settle this thing once and for all, this organization, if they think they can be part of bringing back peace in Cameroon, they should start sanctioning the Cameroon government and let them know what they're supposed to do for things to go right. We have gone past that level of talks, and now only actions should be taken to resolve this problem. Talking about the SDF doing the backyard dance, as we call it in Cameroon, by using the word if by 2020 February elections, if the Anglophone crisis is not resolved, they will boycott. I think these people, they're just being hypocrite. The SDF party, they're just trying to be relevant in this at this moment. They are hypocrite, and they so remain. If they want to partake in the peace process, they should do what is right, and they know what is right for them to do. Good day.
Thank you very much, sir, for participating on the program. We have another call on the line. Hello, and thanks for joining us on the program.
Good afternoon, Laurencia. Good afternoon, lovers of Afrique Media. This is Marcel calling from Douala, Cameroon. Emanuela, let's forget about the AU and La Francophonie. They know what to do. Others have been coming to Yaoundé and they have been going. Nothing has been changed. The crisis still remains the same, and instead the crisis is still increasing. These guys, they know what to do, and they are diverting it. They are making as if they are in support in the peace mission that the SDF party and their gangs they are engaging, in which it is yielding no fruit. These people, they know what to do, and people have been giving suggestions on what to do, but they are avoiding. Tell Biya the truth on what to do. Biya and his party, they should release the leaders of this particular secessionist movement. That is all. And if they release them, then before now they can engage now on a round table discussion without any prerogative. Without so, this thing will still remain the same. Let's forget about everything which is happening. As I said, they know what to do. They know what to do. They should not be diverted. It's just that these people come to Yaoundé and they remain in Yaoundé. Everything remain in Yaoundé. When they come to Yaoundé, they receive their envelopes that the government has prepared. They will just sit down there and they are supporting the movement or the actions that the Biya and his people they are doing. It is not correct. It is high time for them to tell the government the truth on what to do. Release these people. They know what to do. They know what to do. And on the side of the SDF party, I don't know, these people behave like women. People people who cannot stand on their words. They keep on changing their word today. Let me tell you something. SDF party, no matter what they say, they will still participate in this twin election coming on the 9th of February, if and only if the elections will be held. These people will participate. They are just saying like this because they have been hearing other parties threatening that they are not going to participate, in which they know they still think that they are the bona fide opposition party. Look at some these people. They are gradually selling their birthright to CRM party. They are gradually selling their birthright. If all parties in Cameroon were like CRM, Cameroon could have been a better place, and all these things happen like this. They couldn't have been in this way, because what is killing SDF party is greed. It is greed. They are not there for the people. They are instead there for themselves. That is the reason why they cannot take an action. Any action they cannot take. That is why you see prominent leaders or front leaders in SDF, they are leaving the party and they are going they are going elsewhere. It's because the movement is dying every day. The particular movement is dying every day. If Kel is not taken, automatically SDF will be abolished in the mind of there's some people that will even sit down and even hear the word SDF, they can even collapse or they can even die, because SDF is gradually dying every day because of what they are doing. It is greed. It is greed. No matter what they say, come 9 February, they will still participate for the election. Come rain, come some. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ngoy myself, for participating on the program. Coming back to you, Mr. Nji, we just listened to two of our callers. One was talking about sanctions being meted on the authorities that be in Cameroon for this problem to be solved. What do you think about that? Do you think that is the solution for the Anglophone crisis? Yeah,
I think two wrongs can never be right. And the first thing we need to do here is like get the root cause. And I was so happy when one of the callers said we should release Seseko and Cole. You know, that is actually the problem, and you wouldn't ask me to put down my arms while you hold yours. Remember, the real trouble here is if the Cameroon government remove their troops and the militaries out of this zone, these guys will have nobody to fight with, and probably they will equally put down their own guns. But you can't hold yours and you ask me to drop mine for you to deal with me. So I think actually that is just where the problem is. So knowing very well that two wrongs can never be right, we should look a better way forward. And remember very well, the militaries are the one going there to go and look for these guys. I won't sit in my yard and you come looking for me, expecting me to bow down and respect you. So I think the guys, from what they are saying, is they are struggling to fight and protect equally the citizens. But now talking about the crisis, for the crisis to really get to an end, which should do what they call a dialogue, and the dialogue is in between two persons. But if you look about the national dialogue, we call it a national dialogue. Bear with me that the two English-speaking regions, I'm talking of the southern Cameroon, was not represented in this dialogue, because all these English speakers who were speaking guys who were there, I'm talking of Tumi, Frundi, etc., they were not there, they were not delegated by the Anglophones to go and represent them. So it becomes so difficult, because if we talk of national dialogue, knowing very well that we had 8 regions, all the 8 French-speaking regions were present, and now we did not have the English-speaking region because their representatives were locked in there. The person who was supposed to sit officially for the Ambazonia or the Southern Cameroon, whatever name we take here, was supposed to be Seseko Ayok plus the team and co. But they were locked in there, and you talk of national dialogue. Then who was dialoguing with who? And remember very well, the idea of this national dialogue started with the ongoing crisis in the zone. So I think actually that person had the point that they should sanction the government in place, but then maybe If they sanction the government, we pay the price, because sanction is equals to money. And you, like somebody earlier said, those representatives, you won't be coming to sort a problem and you come and do receive gift. What for? I guess they just came to receive their envelope, and it has been long they have not been on field. They came to like say, okay, they were there and all was well. Because if actually there is a problem, you go somewhere, you discover there is a problem, and they give you gift, you take back. What will you explain to he or she who sends you there? So actually, for me, those people wouldn't have even received the gift, and because they came to solve a problem. And like we earlier said, for me, I don't see any reason for sanction for now, but there is a lot to be done, starting by releasing Seseko Ayo Anti.
Okay, Mr. Nji, we are going to come back to you after listening to this report done for us still by Regina Sondo on the SDF saying it is going to boycott the upcoming twin elections if the Anglophone crisis is not solved. Take a listen.
Democratic Front Party SDF has said they will only participate in the February 2020 twin elections after peace returns to the restive regions of Cameroon. The national vice president of the party, Honorable Joshua Osi, made clear that the head of state would either postpone the upcoming legislative and municipal elections until peace returns to the country's crisis-hit northwest and southwest regions, or put an end to the crisis before the election's date. If not, they will not be part of the polls. He was speaking at a press conference Thursday in Yaoundé. Honorable Ossi stated that high level of insecurity still prevails in the regions and has hindered many of their candidates of the twin elections from depositing their files from the areas where they hail from. As we speak, close to 30 of our supporters have been captured by secessionists simply because they tried to become candidates on an SDF list. We have had many other challenges as far as compiling the different documents in those two parts of Cameroon was concerned, he said. The fact that we have submitted candidacy files does not mean that we will be there on the 9th of February. We remind Cameroonians that the only person capable of putting an end to the war in the northwest and southwest is President Paul Biya alone, and what we hope is that he will do that before February 9. If he doesn't, it will be impossible for us to participate in the elections because we don't want any bloodshed, he added. On November 13, the national chairman of the party, Nijan Fundi, called on current mayors, deputy mayors and municipal councillors to prepare their candidature files for the February 9, 2020 legislative and municipal elections. That decision came some 3 months ago after the party had announced it will not participate in any elections until the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country is duly resolved.
Thank you so much, Regina Sondo, for that report. Mr. Nji, we just listened to Regina Sondo talking about the SDF saying it is going to boycott the twin elections if the government is not able to resolve the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of the country. What do you think is with this continuous change of decision by the Social Democratic Front? Because when the date for these municipal and legislative elections were announced, they said they were going to boycott, but later on they came back on their word and said they would take part, and now they are saying they're going to boycott again. What do you think is behind all of this?
I think for real, if you look well, knowing very well that they said they wouldn't be part of, and today, some days behind, they decided to go in, and today they are using a conditional statement if probably tomorrow they will still come back and say they will go. So I think they shouldn't be doing what they call bafia dance in common, this road pidgin language. It's either you are for or you are not for. Like one of the leaders said, if you are not with me, then definitely you are against me. With CRM, as one of the callers just said, that is my party. We decided not to go in, and we did not talk of if. We decided not to go in because of the ongoing crisis, that the crisis should be solved. Meaning, if the crisis needs to, because we can't pretend as if all is well and we rush to pick positions, etc. Meanwhile, our citizens are dying out there. One part of the body is not okay and the other one is okay, and we just believe all is well. For me, I think with what SDF is doing, actually, there's one caller who said SDF will end up going in for the election. This is a challenge, because you wouldn't come to my house and you mourn. Let's say I lost my father, you come and you mourn more than me who lost my father. Meaning, the days behind, they said CRM was a tribalistic party whereby the Bamileke people belong, or Bamileke people who were in SDF, they have gone away to join their brother. But how come Bamileke party, as we always use such a statement, would decide not to go in because of what is happening at ground zero? I guess that is the name the Southern Cameroonians are now calling themselves, that they are in ground zero. And now, SDF, that is born and bred from this ground zero, decided to go in, and because of the fact that they have a lot of pressure from these guys doing groundwork, and a lot of pressure from some of their elite, they now think they should say, if a conditional statement, they should say they are not going in. And we are sure now we have two parties, and we have another party again, that of Cabra Libi, of which they also give a conditional statement that they should give more 15 days if they won't go. And you have this Paul Eric Kinge, his party equally. They are equally saying they won't go in if all is not well. There is a problem somewhere. It's either you are with the country and going in for the interest of the country and going in for change, or you just want to go in because of seeking position and fighting powers. You know, riding in cars like a mayor, like a MP, etc. That is what SDF is out for. But I believe long ago, MRC have already taken their position and they are not going in for any election in this country. And the reasons why MRC came in so late is because at the beginning of the whole show, hadn't they declared so early enough, it would have given room for the ruling party, that is CPDM, of which CPDM today, you and I, we know very well that that is the national party. When I talk of national party, because at a certain moment, all business people want to like get into it. They are the one financing CPDM, struggling that the president should die on seat and he should live everlasting on seat. You know, sorry, I talk of living everlasting, not dying, because I doubt if he would die one day. So you see, it becomes so difficult to change the system. And now CRM, we decided at our party that, okay, even though we are not going in, let us play a game. It is politics. Let's like make these people understand we are resisting and we are there. We did that, and they removed our leaders. That let's go in, because without releasing our leaders, there wouldn't have been any elections in this country. So they released the leader, and you imagine someone who was in for 9 months decide not to go. Meaning he have put the interests of the party aside, the interests of the militants, etc., and thinking about the 2 regions, of which if you look at our country, we have 10 regions. 8 is okay, but because of 2, sorry, let's talk of 9, because we have the North region whereby it is equally not really stable with the Boko Haram. So actually, let's talk of 3 regions here. So he said, with the ongoing crisis, we cannot, it is not really comfortable to go in for election. Who is going to vote in ground zero? I guess very well the military, because the laws state that wherever the military find himself, that is where they are supposed to vote. But bear with me that within that time, they will send troopers upon troopers to go with the name of saying they are going in for peace in order to influence people, and they will be the one to vote. And you cannot sit on the stick and cut in that same stick. So we know who they are going to vote for, meaning they will do everything possible to take ground zero and probably share with SDF. So SDF is still actually playing a game. Since they said they won't go, they came and said they will go, and now that they said they won't go again, a conditional statement, if I think they should change that phrase and say they will not go till the problem is solved. Even if we need 10 years to solve this problem, we solve the problem, then go in for election. I think that will be a proper election.
You just mentioned that the SDF is doing this back and forth change of decision because they are receiving, maybe they are receiving some pressure from the separatist fighters. That's why they keep changing their mind. How certain are you about this?
Yeah, it is very, very clear we should not hide the truth. If you hide the truth, and then what will you say to the people? I guess people are following this program. Look at the issue at hand. How many times have these guys arrested the national chairman? And did you know what he discussed with this guy before being released? And equally, if today he said he is not going, of which yesterday he was prepared to go. Remember very well, at the party level, when they decided not to go, it is the chairman who said they should go at the end. So after saying no, finally let's go, and he is the one standing today and saying if, meaning he have gotten some pressure whereby he is seeing some danger, because in between life and power you prefer your life. Let's face the fact. If they say, okay, this is the power you need, this is the position you need, and now you are not safe by taking that power. Just few people will do like Atanganjipo, who actually is not with the people, but he think of what he wants to have. I think by so doing, that's why he is where he is today. So actually, I think very well, and I believe, not even thinking, the chairman have gotten a lot of pressure, and because of that pressure, that is why he is using the word if. Because if it was out of their making that they have decided not to go, they wouldn't say if. They would have said, see the problem of the southern Cameroon being resolved, they will not go in for any election.
Now, as militants of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, you mentioned that the party is not going to take part in the twin elections due to the security, if I got you right, due to the security situation in the two Anglophone speaking regions. But there were some reports that the chairman said the party is not going to take part because of administrative bottlenecks.
The chairman elaborate on many issues, and remember the last word was because of that of our brothers, English speaking, because one part of the country is not going in for election. But now when we come back about administration, administrative reasons, you will bear with me that how come an election is supposed to be, I guess people are really getting it, because we need to make some of these things clear for some of these parties that are rushing into peak position to already understand that position they wouldn't have it. How come an election that is supposed to take place on the 9th of February, knowing very well that the 10th will be a public holiday? I guess we know that. And on the 11th, that is supposed to be 11 February,
Youth Day,
will equally be the Youth Day, that is still a public holiday in the country. Probably it is on the 12th that we will now be thinking of a way forward, of which election have been done 2 days behind, right? 3 days. So the issue here is, where will these people keep the ballot box from the 9th to the 12th? So looking at all these reasons, There is a game these people are playing, struggling to keep the box and manipulate it, do whatever they want to do and the way they want to do it, then release the results after on the 12th. So actually, for me, you going in thinking that you will have a position, bear with me that the government can only give you the position they decide to give, not because of the fact that people were for. So for real, we see no reason getting into, because look at the date. How, upon all the days we have, the dates we have, why would they go and look at the 9, knowing very well that they have 2 days after the 9 that they won't do the job, of which people will be putting pressure that they need the results immediately, even the next day. And most of the offices will not open, but probably the ballot boxes with everything inside will be lying at the I think what do you call it, the senior divisional officer's office, so of which we know where he belongs. So for me, you look administratively, it is not moving, and the security of the country and the safety of the country, it is not moving, because CRM have not been able to have polls in Bamenda, not to talk sorry, Northwest, not to talk of Southwest. I was supposed to go back home, I'm talking of Northwest region, and see what we can do. But how can you go there? Meaning the ground is not safe and we cannot go in. And if you look very well, our guys are not happy seeing us struggling to go there. So one of the reasons some of us who work at the communication unit of CRM, we were putting pressure, making people to believe that we are going in, is because we needed the government to see that no, people of dignity, people who have people behind them are coming. But actually, looking at the groundwork, some of us were not even in the list, but we needed to do that in order to prepare. That is what we say politics, and that's why today you see, for the fact that CRM is not going, rest assured that in 5 days ahead of us, rest assured that you have not less than 5 other parties that will follow. But I know at the end of the day, those mushroom parties that we equally know where they belong, because of which they are branches of, you know, CPDM, because looking at SDF is a cousin to CPDM. So how can a cousin say no, he will not go and do what?
And what makes you say SDF is a cousin to the CPDM? Can you just clarify us on that?
Yeah, thank you. I think people are receiving these messages, and we should make it clear. Some years behind, the chairman of SDF thought politics was fight. I catch him, I kill him, etc. But the greatest surprise of Cameroonians, when he decided to leave from Tarankum to Yaoundé, where presently he is living, of which he said, for you to like catch a lion, you need to stay around where the lion is living to know when he goes in, when he comes out, and then look a better way forward. But at the end of the day, he deceived the people, because he was the one who took present, New Year present, where witches, leading the political parties to go and give it to the head of state, of which he said he have been asking for audience to meet the head of state. So actually, if these people have received their envelope, they should make us Cameroonians and us people at the ground zero to be aware, and then we know where to follow. And a lot of people from ground zero are now with CRM more than SDF, because CRM decided not to go without any condition before giving the due date whereby people were supposed to deposit their cautions, documents, etc. None of our caution was deposited there. None of the documents were deposited. So now some of these people that we are seeing have deposited millions there, because to go in for the post of MP, you need to deposit 1 million francs. To go in for the position of municipal, you need to deposit 50,000 francs. They have deposited millions in this account, and today they are not going. What did you expect from the common man? Meaning they are just saying no because they have seen somebody said no. They are not saying no because they did not want to go, and it is a conditional no. If, meaning the days ahead, let's wait and see, because from now to November 9, it is still, at least we still had a lot to do.
Thank you, Mr. Nje. We have just some few minutes to the end of the program. You can still call us and tell us what you think about today's topics. And coming back to you, Mr. Nje, there is an article of the Constitution, that is Article 186, which states that there should be no withdrawal of candidacy, no modification of the declaration of candidacy after it is deposited. Now, these parties that are talking of boycotting, how can you explain this move if this article actually exists?
I think you get it well, and lucky enough you went up to the level of the article, because we never wanted to go up to that extent looking at the time. You remember I used a word that they will end up going in, because some days behind within the presidential elections, Muna decided not to go in, give his voice to MRC, CRM, of which actually his papers, his ballot paper were not supposed to be again. But remember very well, in the polling polls we discovered his ballot papers were still there, which means up to date, even Elecam have been asking for a review amendment of the constitution, the present constitution we are talking of. It is equally written in one of the articles that till the day that has been set aside for elections, a lot of changes can be made, meaning whosoever have gone in, if all political parties, I'm not talking of the mushroom parties that we already know, even if the worst comes to the worst, they will go in. If all political parties said they are not going, and allow the ruling party that take decision on when and how to go about it to be the lonely party to go in, did you think because of those articles they would not like come back and look a better way forward? I guess equally they must. Just like I said sometimes in one of the medias, that in US, knowing very well that we have just two parties, if one of the two refuse going, there won't be any election.
Of course.
Because you can't go in alone. You need somebody to challenge.
To compete with.
But then, here in Cameroon, with CRM not going in, I have seen a lot of CPDM militants already jubilating here and there, popping champagne, already jubilating that the victory is already there, because they know they will have everything 100%. But now SDF with this if statement, I keep on using that conditional statement, which means at the end of the day they will play a small game, go there, etc. Like what I remember last time they sent Kaduna to me with one other bishop from Boya to go and see what they could discuss with the ground zero people.
Peace caravan.
Of which days behind, that same people, the same to me have said, you people should like give me the powers, empower me to go do this job. They refused, and at the end of the day now they ask him to go. What did you expect? So for me, I think actually that of SDF, it is possible they refuse, and any other party that wants to get into the same line for the better of the country and that of the southern Cameroon, it will be welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Nje. We are actually, we have just about 1 minute to the end of the program. Just some words to conclude on today's topics about the visit of these authorities from the international organizations and the SDF's stance towards the twin elections. What are your final words on this?
Yeah, final words. I think SDF should take a bold step not to go, for the better of the southern Cameroonians. And for the visit we got in the country, I think actually our problem lies in our hand. We should talk of our future. Allow these people to move out of the country, and we sit and we do the real what we call dialogue. We open a big dialogue table with the people concerned and the people who are supposed to see it, and I think by so doing we will look a better way forward. But without that, I don't think whatever play we are playing, it will yield any fruits. So I think I profit to say hi to all CRM militants that we should hold tight, and I think a lot of persons are coming in, and special greetings to all televiewers and all those who have taken part for this program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Njakumanga Jespal, for honoring our invitation. Hello, televiewers. It is on that note that we draw the curtains on today's edition of Views on the Continent. Thank you to all those who took out time to participate, to all our technicians for helping out to make the program a success. Another edition of the program comes up next Tuesday, the same time. Until then, you have a lovely weekend in the company of programs on Afrique Media.